afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 NotaBle Acts Summer Theatre Festival and this afternoon's performance of Play Out Loud, Readings of New Plays in Development. My name is Devin Rockwell. I am a multidisciplinary theatre artist who works in the region mostly composing scores and also sometimes original scripts, but you might find me as a director or actor here or there. Before we begin, I have a few announcements. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge that the land that we're gathered on tonight is the traditional unceded and unsurrendered territory of the Wolastoqey people. Over the past 400, really the last 350 years, it has been stolen, settled, and renamed Fredericton. As a theatre company devoted to building theatre across our province, NotaBle Acts also draws participants from the unceded territories of the Mi'kmaq and Pescadamagabi people. Alright, I'd like to let you know that Jason back there will be serving drinks, and you can feel free to get up at any time during the performances and just sneak on over there if you would like some. And they'll also be served during intermission. Okay, so for sponsors, this is our 22nd annual festival presenting new plays by New Brunswick playwrights, and I'd like to acknowledge, of course, our sponsors and funders for this year's festival. They make everything possible for us. The province of New Brunswick, through the Department of Tourism, Heritage and Culture, the Government of Canada, through the Department of Canadian Heritage Building Communities through Arts and Heritage Program, and the University of New Brunswick, the Faculty of Arts, and the Alvin J. Shaw Trust Fund at UNB. As the City of Fredericton, Arts NB, and we have Downtown Fredericton Incorporated. I want to thank also to our many partners make us able to live in any kind of space. The University of New Brunswick, St. Thomas University, the Charlotte Street Arts Center, and the Beaverbrook Art Gallery. So we're staging 14 plays at our festival this year. You can still see some of the others. You can pick up one of our full programs or a handbill and visit NotableActs.com or NBX.com specifically for full show schedule and ticket details. And the opening performance of our outdoor plays, Taking It to the Street, is tonight at 7:30, and it's at the Beaverbrook Art Gallery courtyard. Okay, so today we're going to be experiencing two fairly different plays, but both are linked by being about or inspired by very positive friendships between two men. First, we'll watch Reading Dishes by Joshua Burke, which was a runner-up in the 2023 NotaBle Acts One Act Playwriting Contest. Then after we take an intermission, the performance of our main stage production, Are You in Isolation Jones by Scott Shannon. Okay, the point of a play reading is for the playwright to be able to hear the play out loud, performed by trained actors who have rehearsed the plays and being responded to by live audiences. There is nothing like hearing the play in this type of setting for a playwright to be able to assess a work and decide what they like and what they might want to change as they continue working on it. So for each reading, we are going to have a short Q&A with the playwright afterwards. And finally, we would like to ask you to please turn off your phones or put them on airplane mode. Silent will not do. Okay. Dishes by Joshua Burke. Two characters. Charlie, his early 20s, a computer science student who's currently struggling with his mental health. Derek, also in his early 20s, a young man who everyone likes. He's popular, funny, athletic. He does theater as well. Scene 0. Charlie's apartment. It's messy, like really messy. Clothes are everywhere. There's a half-open pizza box on the table, and most noticeably a comically large pile of dishes on the counter next to the sink. A Mumford & Sons vinyl is hanging on the wall. Charlie's laying down on his couch. The TV is on, but he's just staring at the ceiling. His phone rings, he doesn't react to it. It rings again, no reaction. The phone makes a few more notification noises before going silent. Without checking his phone, Charlie rolls over and falls asleep. Scene 1. Charlie's apartment. Charlie is still asleep on the couch. A knock at the door. Nothing. Another knock. Nothing. A third knock and Charlie rolls off the couch
I'm coming. Jeez.
Charlie pauses for a second and takes a look at his messy apartment. He sighs and then opens the door to find Derek standing there.
Hey, Charlie. What's going on? Just here to drop off your wallet.
Oh, right. Thanks. Sorry for the trouble.
Oh, don't be, man. And thank Sophie. She's the one who noticed you'd left it at the bar. I knew I was going to be in the neighborhood today, so I figured I could drop it off.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Charlie goes to close the door, but Derek takes a step inside the apartment and notices the mess.
Come in?
Exams season hitting hard, huh?
Huh? Oh, yeah, you know how it is. Exams and stuff. Barely have the time to clean.
My place always looks like a tornado came through when exam season starts.
Right?
Derek notices the vinyl hanging on the wall and he walks over to admire it.
Mumford and Sons. Nice.
Thanks.
Okay, well, I should get going. Busy day, you know? Try not to lose your wallet again, eh?
Yeah, right. Got it.
Alright, well, see ya. Good luck with your exams.
Bye.
Derek shoots Charlie some finger guns as he exits the apartment. Charlie, exhausted from the exchange, goes and plops down on the couch. Lights down. Scene 2. The apartment is a little messier than last scene. Charlie lays on the couch, staring up at the roof. There is a knock at the door. He ignores the first knock. Then comes the second knock. After a second of hesitation, Charlie gets up and goes and opens the door. There stands Derek, about to knock on the door a third time.
Hey! I was starting to think you weren't home.
No, I'm right here.
Yeah, great. Glad I got you.
Derek walks past Charlie and he enters the apartment. He looks around, really takes in the mess. The clothes strewn everywhere, the old pizza boxes, dirty dishes.
Sorry, why are you here?
Oh! Sorry. Have you checked your phone recently? Sophie has been trying to get a hold of you, trying to see if you were up for going out with the gang to celebrate exams being done, you know? She mentioned she hadn't heard back from you yet, and I was in the neighborhood again, so I figured I'd just stop by and ask myself.
Oh, shit. Sorry, I definitely responded in my head, but then I probably got distracted. You know, post-exam burnout and stuff.
Charlie gestures to the state of his apartment.
Yeah, I sort of noticed. And about that, listen, I have some free time this week. How about I stop by and, well, help you clean up a little?
What? No. You can't be serious. This is my problem, and I'll get around to it.
I am serious. I am. Now that exams are all done, I have all this time and nothing to do with it. I really don't mind, I swear.
I can't. It's bad. I can't ask you to help me clean this.
Oh, come on, man. This isn't bad. You want to know what was bad? Last year, I lived with 3 other members of the soccer team, and let me tell you, the state of that house, well, it made this look like a first-class hotel.
Still, I feel like I'd be bothering you.
Oh, you wouldn't be bothering me. But you know what? I get it. I do. You don't want to inconvenience me.
Exactly.
But what if I just did something small?
Sorry?
Something small. What if, say, once a week I just came over and helped you with something small, like something like, how about the dishes?
You want to come over once a week and do my dishes?
I love dishes. Yeah, so it'd be just like we're hanging out and doing dishes.
I'm not sure.
Oh, come on. It would only be once a week. Let's say Thursday afternoon, I come over, we chat, I do some dishes. What do you say?
Are you sure about this?
100%.
Derek puts out his hand, waiting for Charlie to shake it. After a moment, Charlie shakes his hand.
Alright then.
Great! I'll see you next Thursday then.
Derek leaves the apartment. Charlie closes the door behind him. Charlie takes a hard look at the pile of dishes on his counter. He lets out a deep sigh.
Oh.
Scene 3. Derek is in the kitchen, doing dishes. Charlie awkwardly floats through the apartment, really unsure of what to do or where to go. Derek notices Charlie anxiously milling about.
Say, have you gotten all your exam marks back yet?
Huh? Oh, exams, right. Yeah.
And?
Oh, well, same as always. I passed all my classes, so that's all that really matters in the end, I guess.
How many did you have again? I swear, I heard you say a while ago you had a metric shit ton of studying you needed to do.
5 exams.
What sort of degree are you taking that you have 5 exams in one semester? Aerospace engineering or something? Are you trying to work at NASA, Charlie?
Computer science.
Computer science. Huh. That probably involves a lot of math, huh? Math and sciences fry my brain. It's all beyond me. No, thank you, sir.
To be honest, I'm not even sure how I'd handle it.
You said you had 5 exams. Jeez. Nope. Nada. I had 2, and that was about all I could handle. 5 exams in computer science. You must be some sort of genius or something, huh?
Hardly. You do sports, right? Soccer, if I remember, right?
Yeah, I'm on the soccer team.
You also take classes alongside that?
Yeah.
See, I find that really impressive. Going to all your classes as well as getting in training. I couldn't imagine going to the gym after finishing my classes for the day.
See, that's the trick. You go to the gym before your classes.
How early do you get up for that?
Usually around 5, 6 a.m. It varies sometimes.
See, that? No, thank you. The earliest I can pull myself out of bed is 9 a.m. Maybe 8 if I go to bed early.
Oh, I wish.
I hate mornings. I can't remember pulling myself out of bed to go to work. I can't imagine pulling myself out of bed to go work out and then having to go to... Well, what classes are you doing again?
I'm a musical theater major.
You were a what?
Musical theater major, yeah.
So you're a musical theater major who plays soccer?
People call it a weird combo, but honestly, I think it makes a lot of sense. Both, at their respective cores, are about movement and controlled breathing. There's a lot more overlap than you think.
Guess I never thought of it like that.
What about you in computer science? People must think you're super smart or something whenever it gets brought up.
Well, yeah, but I tend not to bring it up too often. Whenever I do, people's faces go blank, especially if I try to talk about anything I'm learning.
Oh.
Yeah, I usually change the subject pretty quick.
Well, why don't you tell me about your favorite thing you learned in computer science last semester?
Wait, really?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I probably won't understand it all too well, but I can try and I can listen.
You sure?
Of course I am.
Well, okay then. So this past semester I was in a class about programming on the web, in which we developed a web application using RESTful architecture. Now, RESTful architecture is really interesting, as it's characterized by 2 main things: separation of client and server, and it's considered stateless. The separation of client and server is exactly how it sounds. Those 2 components can be operated and updated separately without relying on one another. Now, statelessness is where things get wild. Rather than running without replying to commands, RESTful architecture operates via standard operations on resource via the 4 HTTP verbs.
Let's go down slowly. Derek is listening to Charlie intently. Scene 4. Derek is at the counter doing dishes. Charlie is laying down on the couch, staring at the ceiling. The apartment is still quite messy, but it's a little better. The dishes pile is getting a bit smaller. Maybe a few clothes have been picked up.
So, Charlie,
Yes.
I've been meaning to ask you about Sophie.
Oh God. What about her?
Oh, you know. She's just been asking me about you a lot.
Yeah. She's really sweet like that.
She seems awfully concerned. She says she hasn't heard from you in weeks. You 2 close?
Something like that. It's complicated.
I think she might have a little bit of a crush on you. Just a guess.
Yeah, no, I think she does too.
And?
And what?
Well, I'm just curious about how you feel about her. Do you like her? Is this a mutual sort of thing?
Charlie comes back from the room now with a laundry hamper. He tries picking clothes up off the floor and putting them in a hamper.
Like I said, it's complicated. What about you? Got someone?
Sort of.
Yeah?
Yeah. My best friend. She's quite something, let me tell you. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Always the smartest person in the room. Yeah. She's radiant. She'd walk into a room and it would just light up. She could talk your ear off, but also knew when to listen. She's the first person I'd tell when something good happened, or when something bad happened.
That doesn't sound like you sort of have someone to me. It sounds like you do have someone.
Well, she graduated, and her, being the genius that she is, got accepted into some super prestigious grad school in BC for biochem.
Whoa.
Yeah. So while she's out there doing smart person things, I'm here. Doing theater. Of course. It feels like a time in each other's lives has ended. Different paths and such.
Oh.
Yeah.
What will you miss most about her?
Oh, we had this inside joke where I'd mispronounce her name. It started accidentally, but at some point I started doing it on purpose. And she would look at me, and her brow would sort of like furrow, and then she'd hit me with a smirk, and that's what I'm gonna miss most.
She seems really special.
Well, she is. So, what about Sophie?
What about her?
What's the story with you two?
It's nothing.
Oh, come on! I just poured my heart out to you. This is the part where you reciprocate.
Well, you know how it goes. I was into her, and she wasn't into me, and then she was into me, and I wasn't into her, and then we both liked each other, but we were both too scared to do anything because we didn't want to ruin the friendship. And then, I don't know, somehow we got to where we are now.
And what about now? You like her?
Charlie takes a second, really mulls it over. He's struggling to get the words out.
Yes, I do.
Then go talk to her about it.
But it's not that easy.
Sure it is. You just walk up to Sophie and you say, "Hey, I like you."
No. It's just this back and forth between us. It's been going on for so long. It feels like there's this unsurmountable mountain between us that we have to climb before we can properly sort stuff out. An unsurmountable mountain of, I don't know, man, feelings and shit.
Yeah, I kind of get that.
Yeah, I like Sophie, but that mountain, it's big, and, well, I can't. It's not a mountain I can climb right now, and I feel like a complete asshole for that.
Don't. Sometimes you gotta take time for yourself, and I'm sure that's something Sophie will understand.
Yeah.
Still, I think it might be a good idea for you to call her.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I mean, like, you're thinking all this stuff right now about what you think she's thinking, right? And you probably think that she hates you, or that you're such a mess right now she won't want to talk to you, or worse. And yeah, that stuff's scary. It's completely okay to feel like that, but you won't know for sure unless you talk to her. I know. But trust me on this one. Give her a call and talk to her. It'll be worth it.
How can you be so sure?
'Cause I've been there before. Funnily enough, things always seem to work out when I finally got around to talking with the other person. Communication is funny like that.
Huh. Maybe I don't know, Derek. I get what you're saying, but
Hey, I'm not saying you need to, like, call her tonight, or tomorrow, or even this week. All I'm saying is I think you should call her. I also think Sophie would be happy to get your call. But there's no rush. Take your time.
Okay, I'll think about it. Thanks, Derek.
Lights down. Scene 4.5. Charlie is sitting down on his couch. It's late at night. He's staring at his phone on the coffee table. He picks up the phone momentarily before setting it back down. He stands up and paces for a bit before sitting down and starting a call. It starts to ring before he quickly hangs up. He puts his phone back on the table. After a few seconds, it starts to ring again. He checks the caller before setting the phone back down, letting it ring out. Scene 5. The apartment is looking noticeably better than it has been. Some clothes have been put away, and the pile of dishes has become noticeably smaller. However, it's still not perfect. There's still some garbage laying around. This is the same old pizza box that's been on his table since the beginning, but it's better than it has been. Charlie is seen changing the bag in the garbage bin and tying it up before going to replace it with a new one when Derek knocks on the door.
Come in, the door is unlocked.
He opens the door and enters.
Hey man, How are you doing today?
Good, yeah. I was just changing out the garbage bags.
Nice. That's good, yeah. What have you been up to this week?
Well, I went to the grocery store.
Anything else?
No, not that I can think of. Why?
I'm just wondering if you made any calls this week?
No, absolutely not. No calls here.
Really? Well, that's not what I heard.
What are you talking about, Derek?
Well, I happened to be walking around the grocery store, and who might I run into but our mutual friend, Sophie.
Oh,
Yeah. And we started talking, about life and such, and wouldn't you know it, you came up. She said that she missed a call from you, but what's even more interesting is that apparently when she tried calling you back, there was no answer. You didn't pick up!
well, that's strange. The call must not have gone through.
I guess not. Well, after we ran into each other, we figured, we might as well catch up. So we did. We got lunch, and wouldn't you know, we talked about you quite a bit.
You talked about me.
Oh yeah, for at least an hour, maybe more.
Derek, you didn't tell her, right?
Tell her what?
You didn't tell her come on, you know what I mean.
If you're asking if I told her about your feelings, no, I didn't tell her.
Thank God.
Come on, Charlie, you know I wouldn't do that. But, talking with Sophie did make me realize, Charlie, something more is going on with you, isn't it? Something more than the Sophie thing, something more than post-exam exhaustion.
What do you mean?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, have you ever thought about therapy?
What about it?
Well, going to it?
Going to therapy? Why would I? What makes you think I need to go to therapy?
Well,
He gestures to the state of the apartment.
Oh, what? Just because my apartment's a little bit messy, you think what? That I'm depressed or something?
Charlie, come on. I mean, that pizza box has been here for 4 weeks. 4 weeks.
I told you, exams, they take a lot out of me, alright? It's not that big of a deal.
Charlie, exams finished over 2 weeks ago. And in that time, I'm the only one who's seen or heard. No one else. Not Sophie, not anyone. I mean, shit, man. If it wasn't for my weekly visits, people would think you're dead.
Okay, look, I don't see what that has to do with me going to therapy, okay?
Look, this is more than just some end of school year burnout, Charlie. You're struggling, and that's okay. All I'm saying is that talking to someone might help. I even asked Sophie's opinion on it. She thinks that the therapy is a great idea.
But wait, you did what?
I told Sophie about this.
Gestures to the apartment.
I figured that she knows you better than I do, right? And if anyone was going to know what was going on, it would be her. We just want to help.
I don't need help. I never wanted it, and I definitely don't need you going around and telling Sophie. Wait, did Sophie put you up to this?
What?
This weekly dishes shit. Did Sophie ask you?
No, Charlie, she was just concerned about you.
Shit, so that's what this is then. I actually thought you were my friend or
I
something.
am your friend, Charlie.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. What do you mean, bullshit?
Sophie put you up to this whole thing. You came, you saw the mess, and figured, oh, I'll help. And then turned me into your fucking pity project.
No, Charlie. You just misunderstood what I was trying to.
Yeah, I've misunderstood? No, I think I understand perfectly. So listen closely, Derek. I don't want anyone's help. Not a therapist, not Sophie's, and definitely not yours, okay? So leave.
Charlie gives Derek a shove towards the door. Derek drops the plate he was holding and shatters on the floor. Both look at the shattered pieces of the floor for a moment before looking back at each other.
Don't do this, Charlie.
Get the fuck out.
Defeated, Derek gives up. He gathers his things and leaves Charlie's apartment. The door closes and Charlie walks up to the door. He's to blame.
Shit.
Scene 6. Charlie's apartment has gotten much messier since we last saw it. Almost as bad, if not worse, than the first time we saw it. The dishes pile has grown again, and the clothes are everywhere again. Charlie is laying down on the couch, staring at the ceiling. He stands up. Derek yells from behind the door.
Charlie! It's me, Derek!
He starts to make his way to the door. Derek resumes knocking.
Charlie! Are you there?
Charlie rises to the door. Knocking stops. Derek knows that Charlie is on the other side. Charlie goes to turn the door handle, but hesitates.
Please, Charlie. Let me in, man.
Charlie's frozen at the door, unsure of what to do.
Listen. Sophie didn't put me up to this. Yes, she asked me to check up on you way back when I first stopped by, but the rest, the weekly visits, the dishes, that was all me, Charlie. I am your friend. You are my friend. Please, let me in.
Charlie turns around and walks to his room.
Please?
Lights down. Scene 7. The apartment is as it was in the previous scene. There's a knock at the door. Charlie lethargically waltzes over to the door and opens it without so much thought. Expecting some DoorDash, he's quite surprised to find Derek standing there.
Derek, what?
Charlie hugs Derek. Derek hugs Charlie. Derek looks at Charlie for a moment before looking past him and seeing the pile of regrown dishes.
I believe that I have some dishes to do.
Derek walks past Charlie and heads towards the sink. He begins to wash the dishes in silence. Charlie watches in silence. After a long moment, Charlie walks up to Derek. He grabs a towel and he starts helping him. They work together quietly for a little while.
Listen, man, I'm really sorry for.
I know. And I forgive you.
Derek and Charlie continue working on the dishes together.
Derek,
Yes?
you know, I don't expect. You don't have to. Why are you still coming and doing my dishes? I didn't expect you to still be coming.
Yeah, I know.
So why are you still here? What has you so dead set on coming over and doing my dishes every week? Especially after.
After you were an asshole?
I deserve that.
You did.
So why? Why are you still spending your Thursday afternoon doing some asshole's dishes?
Because, Charlie, I shouldn't have told Sophie about how you were doing. It wasn't my place. So, while you were an asshole, you weren't an asshole entirely without reason. And besides, you're also my friend.
I appreciate that, but still, I don't know.
Do you not consider me your friend?
No, I mean, I do, definitely. I mean, I know I wouldn't want to be friends with me right now, and if I was friends with me, I definitely wouldn't want to be doing my dishes.
Well, I do. You're great, Charlie, honestly. Sure, we had a rough patch, but other than that, I've always had a great time just hanging out. You're great to talk to, and besides, this has never really been about the dishes.
What do you mean?
It's somewhat of a long story.
Well, I'm curious as to why you've been doing my dishes for the past 5 weeks, so what if I did the dishes and you tell me the story?
Derek considers it for a moment before holding out the dish towel to Charlie. Charlie grabs it, taking Derek's spot on the counter, and starts doing the dishes.
Where do I even begin? I mean, I guess it probably started back when I was a kid, say middle school. My friends, they would always ask me for advice, and I would help as best as I could. I liked how it felt to help people, you know?
Yeah, of course.
I'd even say I got quite good at it, helping people, giving advice, a kind word, even just helping with homework. It didn't really matter. I just wanted to help people, especially my friends. Carrying Jack across town at 3 a.m. to his apartment after he drank too much and couldn't walk, happy to do it. I had a friend once, and she told me that she worried about me a lot. She told me that I was too nice, and that people will take advantage of my kindness.
And
Truthfully, I didn't give a shit. I thought, who cares? I'm helping people, right? I am doing good. That same friend, sometime later I noticed they weren't doing too good. Going through some stuff, you know? And Charlie, I cared about her so much. Now, she didn't ask for my help, and likely she didn't want it. But I wanted nothing more to help her, and I tried everything I could. In the end, it didn't matter. Not every problem is a puzzle meant to be solved. But damn it, I tried. And when I couldn't help, it really took a toll on me. It burnt me right out. Didn't want to leave the house or talk to anyone. I placed so much of my own self-worth on helping other people. The second I couldn't, I collapsed. Luckily, I had this friend. He noticed that I wasn't doing too great, and well, he came to me and offered to do my dishes for me once a week. Just to take the bit of a burden off of my shoulders, make my week just a little bit better. And of course, I huffed and puffed, and I told him no, but he persisted. And eventually, I relented. Week in, week out, he would come and do my dishes, and we'd talk. And over time, things got easier. I got my ass out to a therapist, and over time, things got better. Not perfect, but better. You know what, Charlie?
What?
First, I learned that if I wanted to look after others, I also had to look after myself first. Second, I realized that it wasn't about the dishes. Sure, my friend doing my dishes did help, in a sense, did make my week a little bit easier. But you know what really made the difference? It was the consistent, genuine, judgment-free, compassionate human connection my friend gave me, week in, week out, on my good days and the days I was struggling. The world could be ending, absolutely falling apart at the seams, but if that was our day, I knew he would be there to just hang out. And that's what mattered to me.
Derek goes to take the dishcloths back from Charlie, and
So-
Charlie hands it to him.
That's what this is about, Charlie. Showing up.
Charlie stands there a moment in complete silence as Derek starts doing the dishes again.
If you don't mind me asking, what happened to that friend of yours? The one you couldn't help?
Oh, her. Yeah, we don't talk much anymore. There's a mountain, as you put it, we need to find a way around. But every now and then I run into her out and about, and she just seems so alive again. And I can't help but be so proud and so happy for how far she's come.
Place down. See named. Charlie and Derek are together in the apartment. Derek is at the counter working away at some dishes.
Hey, Charlie, would you mind if I played some music? Just to liven it up here a bit?
Yeah, sure, of course. Go ahead.
You don't really seem like the Eminem type. Or anything really too mainstream. You probably listen to lo-fi beats, don't you?
I mean...
Wait. Oh, how can I forget? Mumford & Sons, right?
Gestures towards the vinyl still on the wall.
Actually, that's my dad's.
You know, I heard they're actually coming through here on tour. You and your pops should definitely try to catch them. That would be fun, wouldn't it? I bet he'd love that.
My dad passed, Derek.
What?
Just a little over 2 months ago.
I'm sorry, Charlie. I didn't know.
I know. I didn't tell anyone.
Why?
I didn't want people to worry, and exams were about to begin, so people were already stressed enough. I figured I could deal with it myself. Didn't want to, bring the group down.
Charlie, you wouldn't have.
It's also just, my dad is who I talk to about everything. Whenever I was struggling, he's who I go to. He'd always be there, ready to listen and to give me the best advice. He was the wisest person I knew, my dad. And I can't.
Damn, man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for lashing out about the therapy stuff earlier. With everything that's going on, it's my dad I want to talk about it with. About exams, about how I don't know where I'm heading in life, about how I feel lost and alone, how the world feels like it's crushing me without him to hold it up. All I want is for him to be here, for him to put his hand on my shoulder, look me in the eye. I want to feel his voice soften and tell me, everything is going to be alright. But he's gone, so I can't, and it makes me so angry. I want to just tell him about it all. I just really miss him.
Derek hugs Charlie. He puts his arm around her.
Sounds like he was really great.
He was. I mean, how do I prepare myself for when I go home and I walk through that front door and he isn't there to greet me? No. He's not going to be here to see me graduate next year. Never going to meet my eventual wife. He never got to be a granddad. And hell, he'd be a good one too. I'm not sure, Derek, if heaven exists. But I hope it does. Because if anyone deserves to go there, he did. More than anyone I know. God, I'm sorry.
Hey. No need to apologize. Let it out.
Thanks.
You know, I'm no expert on grief, but there was this thing Andrew Garfield said, and it's really helped me if you want to hear it.
Yeah, sure.
Grief is all the unexpressed love we didn't get to show him.
I always knew he was the best Spider-Man.
Why don't you tell me about your dad?
Okay.
Lights down. Scene 9. Charlie's apartment has started to recover from Charlie's spiral. Charlie and Derek's combined efforts have put a dent in the dishes pile. Some garbage has been picked up. Still messy, but get it. Charlie is picking up some of the trash and putting it in the trash. Derek is doing dishes. His phone is on the counter beside him. Charlie's phone dings from a notification. He picks it up to check and does a double take.
Holy shit.
Surprised, he tosses his phone onto the couch like a hot potato.
What? Who's Josie?
That friend that wasn't able to help.
Oh, well, Josie says hey.
Derek walks down the couch and looks at his phone over Charlie's shoulder. Derek reads the message before starting to pace.
Oh my god, holy shit. Holy shit, we haven't talked in months. What do I say? I don't even know where to begin.
While Derek is talking, Charlie begins to write a message and hits send. Derek runs over and looks over Charlie's shoulder. Charlie passes him the phone.
Did you just...
I replied, hey.
The phone dings again. Charlie starts typing a message and hits send. Derek runs over and looks over at Charlie's shoulder. Charlie finally passes him the phone.
Do you want to get coffee and catch up? You said yes! Charlie, I don't even like coffee. I haven't seen her in forever. We haven't talked in forever. What am I going to do? I'm not ready for this.
It'll be okay. It's just catching up. If anyone can do it, it's you.
How do I even...
You just gotta start climbing that mountain, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I do.
Derek takes his phone and starts typing a message. He hits send.
How about Monday?
See? There you go. You got this.
Thank you, Charlie.
It's no problem. It's what friends are for, right?
Derek flashes Charlie a big smile. And the two hug. Lights down. Scene 9.5. Charlie is sitting alone on the couch. He's looking at his phone on the coffee table again. He picks it up for a second before putting it back down. He takes a deep breath before picking it up and making a call. It rings for a few seconds before going through.
Hey, Sophie. Hi. It's, Charlie. Right. Caller ID, of course. How are you?
Lights down. Scene 10. Charlie is throwing some garbage away in his apartment. The apartment is starting to look half decent, but there's still a healthy pile of dishes that needed to be done. Maybe a few clothes still strewn about. Charlie takes a good look at the apartment before Derek knocks on the door and promptly lets himself in.
Oh, hey.
Charlie! What's going on? How's your week going?
Well, really good, actually. You seem to be in a good mood.
Yes, well, let me tell you, it has been a great week. Meeting up with Josie went really well. Really, really well. I ended up inviting her to come out and see my show next week.
you have a show coming up?
Yeah, it's gonna be next week, and it's looking to be quite good if I do say so myself, but I may be a little biased.
Can I come see it?
Of course you can come see it, Charlie. I'd love to have you there.
Great, I'll try to make it in.
Thank you. It means a lot, you know. Hey, you also said you had a good week. What have you been up to?
Well, I reached out to Sophie. We're gonna catch up. Maybe grab coffee. Start climbing that mountain.
That's great. Say hi to her for me.
Also, I talked to my mom. I'm going to be starting therapy soon.
Derek goes up to Charlie and gives him a big hug.
I'm so proud of you, man. That's really great. Really.
I'm still a little anxious about it, but it feels like the right thing to do.
There's no harm in trying, right?
Yeah.
Seems that we've both had quite successful weeks. And that is cause for celebration.
What do you have in mind?
Well, what a better way to celebrate than by doing some dishes.
I was thinking the same thing.
Derek and Charlie both walk over to the counter and start working away at some dishes. Lights down. Scene 11. The apartment is looking the best it has so far, but still it isn't perfect. But it's an improvement. Most, if not all, of the garbage has been picked up and dealt with. There's still some clothes laying around. However, most noticeably, the dishes pile is gone. Charlie stands alone in the kitchen as he puts away one last dish. He takes a deep breath and takes a moment to look around the apartment. There's a knock at the door. Charlie smiles. He goes and he opens it to find Derek standing there.
Hey, what's going on, Charlie?
Not much. Your show was great, by the way.
Thank you, really. It means a lot that you came and watched. To be honest, though, I'm so happy to be done. Looking forward to just hanging out and doing some dishes.
He notices that the dishes are already done.
There's no dishes?
Yeah, I figured I'd get them done beforehand, and then we could maybe just hang out today.
I'd love to. Did you have anything in mind?
I heard The Last of Us was really good. Have you seen it?
Not yet, but I've been meaning to.
Great, then it's settled. We'll binge watch all the current episodes for now, but each week we'll get together on Thursday and watch a new episode.
You have yourself a deal.
Charlie and Derek sit down together on the couch to watch The Last of Us. Turn on the TV.
Hey, Derek.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Thank you too, man.
Lights down. Now our artistic director, Len Falkenstein, will walk us through a talkback.
Yeah. How about we get Josh up here, right? All right. What a great reading! What a great play! Let's give him another round of applause. So, is there a chance to give Josh some feedback? That can come in the form of a question, it can come in the form of a comment, a compliment, just something about the play that sort of stuck out for you, one way or another. While you're thinking about that, I'm just going to start Josh off with the usual question you ask a playwright about a play, which is why did you write this play? Where did it come from? Tell us a little bit about its evolution and origins.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons why, how it kind of came to be, and I think it started kind of from something that I occasionally do during exam weeks quite often. Is I live with two of my siblings, and they're also going through university right now. And exam week, as we all know, can get stressful, and the dishes pile up as you're making your craft dinner, your mac and cheese, whatever quick food. And sometimes, if I have a couple days without an exam and I notice that the dishes are, piling up across all three of us, sometimes I'll just go through and do them all. And so that's kind of like the, I guess, backstory behind the doing dishes. At least that part of it. The next part of it was, I really wanted to, something that had been on my mind a lot recently, especially through the online discussions involving online personalities like Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson, who really kind of push toxic masculinity at people, at young men. And I was thinking about how there's not a lot of really positive male friendships portrayed in media. And so, since I'd also recently found myself this past year in a super positive, great, male friendship with Chris and Finn, and just super appreciative of them both, I was like, I kind of got this idea in my head of this little ritual between two people, and I pitched it to my friend Julianne, who's also here, and I was like, hey, I've been writing this in my notes app, and I think it's kind of cool, and I think I might want to write it, and Julianne was like, you really should write it. And then for the next couple months, because that was back in the winter of this year, next couple months, like at 3 a.m. in the morning, I just get this idea in my head, this little bit of dialogue between some of the scene, and I just go and I write it in a notes app and put it away for a rainy day. And then after that rainy day came, after I finished exams and I realized the NotaBle Acts deadline was a week away, and I was like, well, I need some sort of fire lit under my ass to get going. So I took that and I Monday, finished exams on Friday, took 2 days off. Monday I sat down, I wrote the kind of storyline, I guess, for the original 10 scenes of it. I wrote a short, a couple lines about what I wanted to happen in each scene. And then over the next week, I just wrote a really focused short scene. And then when I was done, I submitted it. And then I had some really, really great, I sent it to a few friends and they gave me some fantastic feedback. I had the great dramaturgy with Julia, who's unfortunately not here right now, out of province, I think, right now. But Julia's help was great. Devin's dramaturgy was fantastic as well. And yeah, it really became a great, I'm super happy with how these two have brought it alive. It's super great.
Yes. Yeah, so questions, thoughts from people in the audience?
I'll go. Because I want to, this is also partly my plug for NotaBle Acts. How did it feel to have your play read the first time you sat in on a reading? What kind of experience, what kind of thoughts went through your head? Was anything like, oh, I'm embarrassed I wrote that? Or was it like, wow, that sounds great, I'm a genius?
I think perhaps one of the most ego boosting things I've ever had is after I listened to the first read through over Zoom, and Alex was like, wow, your dialogue felt supernatural and well written. It felt like a real conversation that people could have, and that was a big compliment. Because in any writing class I've been in, even though I haven't been in a lot, but I've been in two, and both of them it's been said that writing dialogue is difficult. So to hear that your dialogue was, easy to read or well done, it was a super big compliment, I felt like. It's also, nerve-wracking. I wrote in my director's note, or writer's note about this, that the first reading, and all the rehearsals in a way, especially with a piece like this, which is inherently about vulnerability, being in the first reading about a piece that you've written about vulnerability is a very vulnerable thing in itself. Which is a really interesting experience because you're like, ooh, this is a thing that I kind of really dove deep for. And other people are reading it and I'm hearing it said back to me, and it's really fun, but also kind of scary.
Yeah, super brave, Sitting up here right now is vulnerable too, isn't it? Yeah, thanks. Other folks? Yeah.
I'm just wondering if Charlie sometimes didn't do the dishes because he was looking forward to Sarah coming. Or he just made extra dishes.
Yeah, I definitely think maybe towards the end that could be a possibility sometimes. Charlie's quickly oh, you know what? I'll have dessert tonight as an extra few dishes and spend more time with Derek.
About Charlie's father dying.
Yes.
Was that very close to you?
Well, my dad's still alive. But I think when writing Charlie, depression is something I think all of us had, it's touched all of our lives in some way, whether it's through siblings, ourselves, family. And I thought, if something was gonna hit me really, really hard to put me in a really dark place, it would have to be my dad dying. So that's where that came from. And writing that scene, that was the last scene that I think I wrote for the play, because I knew I knew it was gonna be hard to write, and I always dreaded edits to that portion because it was something that I put off almost as long as I could. Sat down, wrote it, was like, man, I think that was really good writing, but it sucked to write a little bit, and then put it off until I was like, okay, I have to go back and write it again. But yeah,
It was a very good scene, and
if
laid it out really
yeah,
well, really.
if anyone hasn't seen that Andrew Garfield interview, I highly recommend it. It's one where I think he's on Jimmy Fallon or something like that, and he's talking about a recent production he was in. I think it might be Tick Tick Boom, and he's talking about how his mother died and how working through this has helped him. And there's so many great quotes from that interview, and I can't watch that interview. I was listening to it. I had to listen to it a few times to get that quote right, and I'm just there tearing up. Oh, this sucks so much. It's so good, and there's so much feeling in that interview, and that was something I wanted to try and bring into the scene a little bit, and that's why I brought his quote into it, and I mentioned Andrew Garfield because I feel that's a little moment of everyone hears Andrew Garfield's name, and then everyone kind of perks up a little bit, and you're like, oh, maybe this is going to be a bit of a joke, and then you get hit by that line, and it's it hits hard, yeah. So yeah, I'm glad that it was laid out. You liked it.
I really like that you touched on some of the stigma against seeking out therapy, and just sort of spoke about it, or Derek spoke about it in kind of a casual way, no harm in trying. I think that was really nice. It wasn't preachy or anything. I think sometimes that can turn people off, especially young men who are already feeling therapy's the last thing they want to do. So I think it was touched upon in a really nice way. I also thought it was really sweet that Charlie got a chance to help out Derek, especially because Derek seems like this very confident character who kind of has his life together, and people do have friends like that in real life, not realizing that everyone has their issues that they're dealing with. So it was really, really nice that they both got to help each other. I just thought it was all very sweet.
Thank you, Mary.
I know that was a question that Josh had as well for the audience, which was, did you get the sense that there was sort of a mutually beneficial relationship going on between the characters? I don't know if anybody else had any.
Especially by the end of the script, I wanted to be very clear that this friendship is going to continue because it is mutually beneficial in a way.
He's asking too because I grilled him. I was like, so what's Derek getting? And that was a couple of scene rewrites around that.
I think.
Maybe I was harsh.
No, I mean it pushed me to write that last scene, or the scene that Mary mentioned, the scene with Derek's phone.
Yeah.
That was.
It's got a lot of laughs.
Yeah, which I enjoyed the scene very much, and I liked that it was added.
I think that was the last scene that got added to it.
Yeah.
Added in the last round of rewrites, and I think it was probably one of my favorite scenes to write from it because it was really funny because it was right after our first read through, before Devin had grilled me on it, and I kind of told the actors, I was like, hey, I think this is the final version of the script that you're going to be reading at the reading. I don't think I'm going to have much more time to change anything. And then me and Devin had a chat afterwards, and it was very much like, hey, what is Derek getting out of this? And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to add. And it was really funny because I said in that meeting, I was like, I don't think I'm going to add anything more. I'll see if any inspiration hits me, then maybe I'll add it. And then probably 2 hours after our meeting, I got hit by the inspiration. I was like, this is the perfect scene. I need to write it. Oh,
Writers, if they say I'm definitely gonna add that, it's not coming in. If they say, well, maybe if I feel like it, you're getting the next draft.
Yeah, it was probably one of my favorite scenes to write, honestly, especially because it came at the end, and it was just like I was like, it just kind of connects it. Yeah, so I love that scene. It's one of my favorites personally.
Any final thoughts? Over there.
Yes. How much of your friends are like in the two characters?
A lot. I mean, like, I think it's a weird thing because like a few of my friends who know me quite well, who read the script beforehand, like it's really interesting how you've almost split yourself into two characters. I tried to like there's like I'm in computer science and I do theater, right? Like so, very obvious parallels there. But I tried to really not make it about me, but rather put things that I've kind of experienced and know about into the characters and have that shape them in their own way. For example, Charlie's lovely monologue about restful architecture was from a class that I took this past year, and it was a conversation I had really early on about whether or not I want Charlie to be a computer science student because of the fact that I'm like, oh, I'm a computer science student. And then after a really great talk with one of my friends, they were like, well, you can write it so much better if you've done computer science rather than some other major. You can make it way more like, you can give it so much more like salt and pepper, I guess. More flavor if you choose a major that you've experienced. And then also that doubles on the theater side, where I feel like I was able to make a few jokes that I felt really resonated with everyone. That like everyone who's done theater, they kind of like, they feel some of the things that Derek is saying.
I just want to add a line that I appreciated, which was, I don't know if this got last, but I read it and I laughed every time, where he's like, you have a play, can I go? And then when he says, yeah, of course you can, he's like, all right, I'll try to make it out. I was just, every time, that makes me laugh so much. I was like, that's so classic.
Final thought, Julianne?
Yeah, I think something really cool that you've done in the play is you've developed characters who aren't in the play. Like with Sophie and the variety of friends that Derek has. And I'm curious if you ever like felt the pressure to include more than just these two in the play. This is also kind of a loaded question because I kind of know the answer, but I'm curious also like what your process was and how steadfast you were in making it just about the two friends.
Yeah. Sorry. One of the first notes of feedback I got from a friend who had read this first draft of the script was, this Sophie character is really interesting. Can you make them an actual character? And I said no. Yeah, for I think until almost like second or third draft, especially, Sophie wasn't a big character. I mean, Sophie was always there, but I was really interested in keeping it just about Charlie and Derek, and just keeping it about these two people this day in, day out in the apartment the whole way through and seeing what I could do with that. But as you know, like I talked with Julia, and I think by the time it got to you guys, I had fleshed out Sophie a bit more.
Yeah, I had no wish to bring. I knew that you sort of mentioned that, but I was like, I mean, here's the thing about adding a character that you're unmotivated to do, who's mentioned. It's like, you don't want to. So like, you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna add that character, and they're just gonna kind of hang there limply, for lack of a better way of putting it. Like, if you don't have a journey, if you don't have something to say about Sophie's journey, Sophie's perspective, then it's not about Sophie.
I also think it's a really interesting concept to play with, the idea of what do our friends say about us when we're not in the room?
Yeah.
And how does that, as an audience, how does that inform how you see those characters? Especially, for example, Derek's unnamed love. I had a really, really interesting note from Julia after the first draft that I included that in. And it was I hadn't given a name or a program for what his friend was going into. And Julie was like, well, he'd know what program or where she's going. He's in love with her. And I agreed with that. I was like, yeah, he would. So what does that mean when it's a conscious choice when Derek doesn't mention the school? And I think that it ended up reading really well because I asked Alex after the first read through, I was like, what vibe do you get from when? Do you get that Derek's in love with this person, but he's kind of sad that she's leaving, right? Because it was like a conscious choice in Derek's when he's speaking not to mention the school, to mention the program, because he's like, oh yeah, she's off to this really great school, and like he knows the school's name, but I don't know, there's a small act of defiance in not mentioning it that I think also kind of shows how much he loves her. And there's also the fun thing of like, how do I play with the characters to like Devin was drilling me on about how do I make Charlie help Derek, and that was something that also helped me develop this unnamed love for Derek, because how do I kind of show the audience without having the actual character how much she means to Derek, and how through she kind of leaving there is a void that Derek kind of needs to fill, that this friendship with Charlie kind of helps to fill.
Yeah, no, that was something I pointed out. I remember saying that, kind of seems like Derek likes Charlie because Charlie's kind of exactly like the person that he liked. He's like really quiet or nerdy, and he's also kind of like psychologically disconnected, and so maybe he's kind of giving the love that he hopes to receive back, kind of thing, from another source, as people do often in real life.
Okay, I think we should probably wrap up. So thanks very much again to our readers, Devin for directing. So we're going to take a 15-minute break before coming back for Are You in Isolation, Jones? You're welcome to avail yourself of a drink at the bar, but we're going to ask everybody to step out into the lobby once you've done that. So Scott, you finish preparing the room. When we come back in, we're going to be sitting on